Well, I guess if I delay any longer, the show's never going to start.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's a brand new day.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Science! Now prepare to experience the most outrageous man on radio.
It's an excursion into the odd and into the very, very different.
Good morning.
This is insane.
Quality, quantity, and variety.
ROCKFLUX.
Let's get this show on the road. It's the best. New, real, cool.
The station for more fun in the sun.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. More realistic.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a little more realistic towards the end there. Anyway, that's a long one. That's a long beginning. Anyway, we never know how long we're going to be on the air these days, the way things have been like coming down. So I guess we have to take every minute as it goes. I noticed that like Odyssey as of yesterday, I didn't check it this morning. They had like the one video that got cut off that was like 15 minutes is what they put up. So if anyone has saw that video, I mean, that's had to be the worst video I ever did. And the headphones and this hat just do not go together. And it's really sad. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what kind of headphones I want to get. I like these headphones because they give me the full sound, you know, in the ear, pretty close to the reality, which is what I want. I want to experience the show as best as possible. But I'm also getting a growing hiss in the ears now. Pardon me while I drink some coffee. I put the 75 or 85% cacao in there and a little bit of some pure vanilla extract into the coffee as it was, you know, so that it would drip, 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 drip as it was making the coffee. So somehow it would be a blend. Tastes okay. It's not phenomenal. And as you can see, the title card here, boy, that was hard to make. It's 5:38 a.m. Eastern Time on the 1st of May. We finally made it. It's May. Could you believe it? I didn't get out of bed till 4-ish. Though when I asked my voice assistant, smart speaker, as some people say, what time it was, the last time I heard it was like 2:59. So I must have like just dozed off for an hour, and then I just woke up. And I woke up feeling like kind of, it's kind of what I put in the chat here. It's starting to rain, of course. No. Is there such a thing as clarity or insanity? That's the subtitle of the show. Is there such a thing as clarity of insanity? Because I woke up feeling like just normal. Does that make any sense? Now, you know, I don't want to walk on eggshells. You know, let's hope that the YouTube, you know, whatever they are, gremlins got preoccupied by something else. And I could just focus on this show and not have to talk about technical things. I was using this Snap camera, which doesn't operate it well at all on this older computer. And I, you know, even though I do have a 16 gigs of RAM and, you know, it's a pretty good processing unit, but it was murder to get that anime effect. And of course, I was also using a distorted lens, so I could, you could see more of the room, the guitar, and then I had to blend two things together. It was back in the old graphics days. And this hat looks like my head looks twice the size as it is because I've got the headphones in there, but I'm trying to keep them a little loose because yesterday I had to put them on so tight so I could like have the hat fit. And it still feels like the headphones are going to fall off at any given time. Anyway, that's enough of, me.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
And of course, it's it's raining. So let's take a look.
Weekend weather.
And see, because this kind of caught me by surprise. I didn't think, it did not say yesterday. This I tell you about the weather, people. How the heck in 2022 can they be so off literally hours or a day before? I mean, they see the radar, right? 90% chance of rain today. Basically 100% chance. And I can hear it on my air conditioning unit, like hitting. And it's going to rain all during this show, which means afterwards, I'll be up there pumping, siphoning water out of containers. And it's going to be one of those days. Chance of rain, I guess, all day today. It's going to be in the 60s, maybe 70 Tuesday, but 70s like 70% chance of rain. Who knows? It may rain all day. And none of the nights are going to get below 48 is the lowest night. That's Monday night. So I've uncovered, I should have left all my stuff uncovered. I covered a few things, but that's because I actually saw the face of the mouse or the rat about 3 feet away, 2 or 3 feet away from me when I was painting an area. I wish I would have had a camera with me. But I plugged the hole where it was. I found out where it was one of the spots it was coming through, and I kind of plugged it. But then later on, right before I went to bed, I looked out the window. It's still daylight when I go to sleep. And I saw a little like a mouse or something trying to go towards the bird feeder from the fence. And the woman next door had mowed her lawn, so I'm thinking maybe that's something that came over from her side. Again, more. Who knows how much stuff she is living over there. Anyway, so generally speaking, I guess in the mid-Atlantic states and the eastern part of the U.S., it's going to be somewhat normal. It's almost like we're into May. Anyway, that's your
Weekend weather.
Take that with a grain of salt, or take it and consider wherever you live. You either add or subtract some temperature. But if you're really that concerned about whether or not you're going to get rain, check out the radar. And I don't understand. This is the problem. Just talking. I wanted to talk about everything today. By the way, just to catch up on that, when I was a couple of shows ago, I was talking about a show that I thought was called Future Shock, but it's actually Days of Noah, DAYZ of Noah. And I know he does like a lot. I think he was doing a live thing last night on Saturday nights. I'm not sure if that's what his gig. He's out there. He pretty much, he's kind of you got to watch his show, and he gets into, he talks about everything. And apparently he has some kind of, I guess on his Patreon thing or something like that, he just has all, no holes barred type of discussions. But you could tell from the discussion he was having last night, I mean, he covers everything. And that's what I'm saying with this madness or insanity, me is with the cartoon face. It's weird. I don't know what that second bubble is next to my one eye there. That just like appeared. I guess that's a reflection. It's supposed to be a reflection of something or other. The glasses on. And my mustache completely disappeared in the anime thing. I just had the hint of a soul patch. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't care. This is almost like the private detective's hat. If it didn't say ROCKFLUX, if I wore it backwards, it's okay. My chair is like sunken down. I feel like trying to lift the chair up, but which should be impossible to do. So I'm not going to try to do it because I have so much tape on there, Gorilla tape, to get it to be not sliding down to the floor. Coffee's not bad. It's like thick, which I guess is the best way to describe it. So, yeah, I in a world seemingly gone mad, one man, one vlog tries to make sense of it all. ROCKFLUX. The X didn't show up too much on the shirt. See, it's an actual photo of the clothes that I'm wearing. It's just turned into, the anime thing, and then I added some type, and like I said, it was kind of I had to sharpen the head and like kind of blur the background because the whole thing I wasn't able to. The program won't. Anybody interested in graphics? The program wouldn't save it because there wasn't enough processing power. It was hard enough to get it to actually do this image. And so what I did was I sharpened the image of the face, cut out the face, but the rest of the background looked all pixelated and of sorts. So I had to take that and reduce the sharpness and contrast down to give it a backgroundy feel. That's why it's a little blurry, but it works okay because I sharpen the face, because in reality, you're usually focused on a single thing. And it worked, but it took time. It's 5:47 a.m., like I said. So, that was like, it's one of the longer, if not longest, I don't know if it's the longest, considering I've done like 600 some of these shows. But it's one of the longer one of the title cards that I've put together. But I kind of like it. It's kind of neat. I got the best title cards. Now, why wouldn't someone click on that? Out of curiosity. I have no idea. Excuse me. Anyway, let's just hope. It looks like for the next 5 days, even despite the rain and despite the chore of going upstairs, my lights are like just kind of flickering out there on the porch, if you could see them. The weather is, should be what we call seasonal, almost seasonal for April, but let's just hope we don't get any more frosts. I'm tired of that. I was out yesterday for a couple hours, and it's even my voice is like a little bit deep, like as if, I didn't do much yesterday. And, you'd figure it would be like one of these rain all day kind of things, because what I need to do is go for a good walk or get some good exercise in today. But it's going to be one of those rainy days where I'm like stuck in the house. I should have done some more physical activity outside yesterday, and I didn't. I painted, and it was early enough. I painted before noon, and it was fairly warm, and the areas and items that I was painting, the sun was on, and it's exterior paint that I'm not worried about it being rainy, like it's going to ruin, the paint job. I mean, you like 24 hours at least on a paint job, but the overnight temperatures, as far as I know, in fact, let me just double check this again. What's the temperature right now? It's 55 degrees. So up until, fairly just a few moments ago when it started to rain, considering, and we're talking, that would have been 5-ish, 5:30. Yeah. I had about almost 20, almost 20, not exactly, but it had a good time to dry. And besides, the wood was... It's old. It was old wood. But I did paint on some plastic. I painted one of my water catchment systems, rainwater catchment systems, because it was blue, but I wanted to put another coat on. I put some gray over it, because if the sunlight gets in, you can get algae or whatever in there, and that's like a 30-gallon container. Excuse me. Yeah, I can't talk. This is old Henry Kissinger. I don't even have Henry Kissinger today. I got nothing. A little more coffee might help. Definitely taste the chocolate in there. This is literally the bottom of the can. So who knows what remnants are in here. There could have been remnants of Kona coffee, 100% Colombian coffee, and that Cafe Bustelo or something mixed with 85% cacao and a dash of, pure vanilla extract. Not bad. It's strong. Strong flavor, anyway. So what I mean by madness or insanity, and I guess I could keep this up because it's just kind of fun and I created it and I don't know, kind of like it. I wish it wasn't such small, small because a lot of these things, like I said, I had this idea of making this like taking the best of some of these title cards and making some kind of poster, of them. But these graphics are like 72 DPI or something weird like that. It's like to print them. You could probably get a decent printout on a laser printer, or a dot matrix or a laser printer, and enlarge it, maybe double the size. I might do that, but that's about it. You're not going to get printed poster. Hey, look, what happened to the legendary white handkerchief? Put it in the wash. I was debating whether to do laundry today or not. See, originally, I don't know. They've got the weather way out of whack. When's the show going to start? And I don't know. I had this vision that I was going to do something today physical, get all worked up, take a shower, put all my clothes in the laundry, wash, and then just relax and stuff like that. But this rain is putting a whole... Look at it. It's already getting light out there. Turning blue. Weird. Cat took a few licks of his food and went back upstairs, so I don't know. But I don't know. He's still hanging in there. It's the thing. Cats, they have incredible healing powers, but or endurance, put it that way. It doesn't seem like he's in pain or anything, surviving, but I don't know. We just can't find the right food that he just will gobble down. Except stuff that's no good for him, like those lickable food toppers, which have there's no nutrient, they're not nutrient dense or nutrient anything really. I mean, there's something in there, but whatever it is, it's not enough he needs some like protein, high protein. He's got to put on some weight, protein and crude fat or something like that. Fatten him up, get healthier. So what I'm trying to say is I wake up and I feel just like different. I mean, not bad, not good, not sick, not well, not, not stressed, not relaxed, and, and I don't know if it's a culmination of everything, that I've been watching recently and talking about, or if it's just maybe watching that Days of Noah guy yesterday where he was laying out a lot of different things that I know, but it's like when you litanize things, it builds, it really paints a picture and just, builds up inside you maybe. The idea of how absurd or how mad it is. And this says madness or insanity, and it's I now realize a screw up was supposed to be madness or sanity. At the last minute, I added the IN there. What an idiot. I mean, I could get rid of that. but by putting probably a white block over there or something. Madness or insanity, they're the same thing. You see what I mean? I just, at least I caught it. Let's see if I can catch this. I'm going to go graphically. It's going to be off-centered because this program that I have on this computer, I don't have the benefit of the good programs. So let me see. Annotate rectangle. And this doesn't even want to match the right color, I don't think. Bear with me. Show colors, show business. Yeah, there's no way I can there's no way I could in another program I would be able to take this thing and center it, but I can't do that in this. Let me see if I call it up a second time. Hold on, patience with me. Let's just hope that the YouTube is as patient as you have been. No, can't do it. Quit. Well, anyway, you at least see madness or sanity. Normally, I would want that centered, but that's okay. Well, anyway, so that's the idea. So what's going on as we see the light start to take over the night? There's so much going on right now. And so are those of us who see like this whole like big picture as like complete utter madness, as a world gone mad, like I say in this thing? Or are we crazy? And is everybody, and is this the way it is? I mean, you just see what I mean? It's like I'm starting to question. It's like you question your own sanity. In a sense. Because it's just so outrageous what's going on. Like, you don't want to believe. I'm not saying you, but me. And I know there's other people like me out there. Though they're hiding them, from having, access to this show. But, it's just crazy. And I don't know. Like I say, I'm befuddled by it all. I was talking about yesterday, and I just keep looking and seeing, when you talk about war-profiteers, I saw a thing, and probably was the Days of Noah guy, was like, was showing some, people bring up, I always criticize things like that, but it's okay, people bring up, a news report from somewhere else, some website or something like that. I mean, I occasionally have done it, but I usually only do it from like .gov sites. But anyway, there was something about Biden wants to send $33 billion over military aid to Ukraine. And like, my first thought was, what I was talking about yesterday is that 40,000 some Americans are dying every week because we're not, unnecessarily, right? From preventable things, such as, things called like type 2 diabetes, things caused by like literally the FDA, taking a blind eye to, to what's going on in the food and drug industry, right? Which is their job. That's their mission. That's why taxpayer dollars go to them. And why aren't we spending $33 billion to solve that problem? I mean, there aren't 40,000 people a week dying in Ukraine, for example, right? And then you have this whole Ministry of Truth thing that's going on now. I mean, that's surreal, right? And then you got to wonder about, is this whole idea of them bombing Ukraine to smithereens, and well, perhaps why they're sending even all this money over there so they could further bomb it to smithereens, to turn it into a battlefield. Is that Biden trying to hopefully hide all the evidence of all the things that, that were, alleged, and that have come out even in the New York Times, regarding that, legendary laptop thing? Do you know what I mean? And then, of course, those alleged labs, right? So, in other words, are they destroying? Is it $33 billion to destroy the evidence? Right? I mean, sometimes these people, they're just so, they just do this stuff right in your face. And the average person, it's so outrageous that the average person would go, that's impossible. There's no way they would do that. I mean, they would give themselves away if they, and that's probably the discussions they have at the table, right? I mean, that's the kind of discussions you would have. Like I say, I'll tell you, doing the advertising thing, being a creative director in an advertising agency, and just being involved in advertising in general. When you're sitting around a table and you're having creative discussions, when you're talking about campaigns, advertising, clients, and how people are going to respond to this, that, the other, and and I worked on some political campaigns as well. It's like the type of things that are brought up at the table. Like someone says, "Hey, well, let me put this up the flagpole and see if anybody salutes it." You know what movie that's from? The original 12 Angry Men. That guy was an ad man, by the way. But that's the kind of thing. That's and I think I even used that line once in a meeting. But it comes up and you go, yeah, and somebody somewhere goes, no, they'll never, the more outrageous, the less likely people are to believe it. In other words, to believe that there's something nefarious about it, because they'll go, that's impossible. No one would be that foolish, right? Who would be that foolish to do something? How would they be so blatantly, make it so blatantly obvious? Spend $33 billion, create a war to destroy a country, just to hide evidence and have all those people and refugees and stuff. Nobody would do that, Believe me, they would. When you're talking about the corporatocracy and you're talking about a criminal, you got to remember about the criminal mind. See, that's the other thing. And then that gets into the whole idea of the sleuth me with the hat on, right? Right. And the writer, right? The writer of mysteries and horror stories and fiction and screenplays. When you have somebody who commits a crime and their fear of being discovered, and they start to become paranoid, right? If you're writing a character like that, and you've seen many a mystery thriller, whatever, well, they just go crazy, right? Somebody, in this fictional story, somebody commits this murder, accidental murder. They go over it's like I've been watching some old Perry Masons, right? Everybody ever watch that show? Those are really good shows. It's hard to believe they're like 50 plus years old, 60 years old, I think. And yeah, at least. But, that's all courtroom drama. And, and occasionally, so somebody, has an argument with somebody. It goes to, as they call, fisticuffs or whatever. Somebody falls down and the other person hits their head and they're dead. It wasn't an intentional murder or something like that. But they, but rather than just call the police and say, hey, this was an accident, blah, 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 face the music and hope you can, get off on self-defense or some kind of whatever, the person decides to hide the body and bury it or do something. But somebody catches, if in the midst of that kind of hiding the crime, somebody catches them or gets onto it, gets wind of it, then they end up murdering them or something. Do you see what I mean? It snowballs to cover their tracks. So now somebody who was never a murderer or killer to begin with accidentally was involved in something, the deaths start piling up, right? Till the person's finally caught. And then they're like crying on the stand, admitting it. I never meant it to, it was an accident. No, well, the other two weren't an accident. So, yeah, don't discount the most outrageous things that you see. Truth is stranger than fiction, right? It's like I try to tell you when you watch these Washington, D.C. thrillers, political thrillers. When you see all this high technology, all this crazy stuff they're doing, all this, when these shows about intelligence agencies and stuff like that, and you're thinking, oh, man, they don't really have that kind of stuff. They can't do that. They don't have satellites that can watch stuff in real time. They can't do this, do that. They're not going to, people within these agencies aren't going to take out people and stuff like that. It's like, oh, yes, they are. Truth is, what's going on in the real world is, is far scarier and far more deadly than what you see in those some Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie or Tom Clancy novel. And so, when I look around right now, when you look at guys like Bill Gates, all the crap that he's involved in this World Economic Forum, the more you learn about the World Economic Forum, remember, this is an unelected body. This whole Davos thing and stuff, that Klaus Schwab is his name, right? He's nobody. This guy's the ruler. This guy's the de facto ruler of the world. The leaders are there's all these pictures of leaders posing with him, and he, and forming all kinds of partnerships with this World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab shaking their hands, and he's the whole Great Reset guy, and he's into all this crazy stuff. But he's he makes a Bond villain look like a character in before Disney became woke. You know what I'm saying? Like some innocent cartoon character, right? So that's like the face on my cartoon character of me here. It's like, yeah, that's it. That's it. This madness or sanity, but I wouldn't even be saying that. It's outrageous. Yeah, that coffee's not bad. It's like the more you drink it, or I don't know if it's the deeper down, it gets more chocolatey, but it's interesting. And it's good stuff. The cacao thing is, the high cacao. It's not like it's sugar. Yeah. So it's supposedly good for you. It's good for you. Dark chocolate cacao. It's good for the heart, good for the circulation, good for the, digestive thing. I think I mentioned it yesterday. There we have it, daylight. Camera 2 view outside, the vista. I think I might change that view sometime if I keep doing these shows. I don't know. You know what? I'd really wish I could, but I would need to get another camera. And like I say, I have such, limited resources that I can't put all these funds into it. If I had a faster computer and I was able to actually use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and put a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi camera out back, I'd have the view of the yard. That would be a really good view for like future shows. But there's no way I could wire it. It's too far back to get to that window. So it would have to be a wireless camera. Now I could they do have them. I have this, let's see if I can do this. But they're not cheap either. I could put a wireless camera, I guess, in the back. But I wouldn't have it. I don't know if I'd be able to have it full time. See, the problem is it works through my iPhone. That's that light you're seeing in my eye. See, my iPhone is warming up. If you look at in the lens there. And I have a security camera in the front. There was a pain to hook up. A lot of these like things, because of Wi-Fi, they're like it's such a major thing to go through to like get them like hooked up. Okay. So for example, what the camera view you're seeing is camera 2 right now. All right. Is a live view from a USB camera, okay? But what it isn't is it's not a security camera. Now, my security camera, stop it. It keeps bringing up my photo app. I don't want that. iPhone, where is it? There. Here we go. Now, this is the security camera. And you can see the difference, obviously, because my door to the left side is my door, front door. So this is how I could tell if I got a delivery or something. It's asking me if I want to continue. So you can see it's the same picture, but this way I could see someone coming up the stairs and my doorway is pretty much there. There's not much space where that mat is. That's the door. So if somebody's standing there, I can see them, and I could angle I could angle the camera, like, I could move it. All right. So that's possible. Actually, I have to make sure I turn this off. So let me turn this off here. Close. And I have to, it's disarmed. You got to disarm this thing. It's weird. Otherwise, it just keeps, because it will record things. It has motion detection and all that stuff. I'm just, the taste of my security camera. But if I were able to, what happens is these security cameras, they make them for people to use on mobile apps. And while they do have some apps that you can purchase that you could tie into that to hook into to a PC, to a traditional Mac or PC or something, they're spotty at best on some of the older computers. as far as accessing them. You got to put in a million numbers and all this kind of stuff, and it may or may not work. And so the idea of having it up, and I don't know if you noticed, I had to hit the continue button. The idea of the security cameras that to alert you that there's somebody at your door, you can record the video so that, motion detection record to catch somebody, so you can use it, go to the cops or see what's going on or something like that. But it's not meant for a 2-hour, USB type of thing. So it's a long way of going around saying, yeah, I wish I could come up with a USB camera, like the world's longest USB cord. But it would be like, in order for it not to be like in the way, I'm looking, it would have to go all the way into my kitchen bar room type of thing to the window. So it would have to be like up, over, and down. Yeah, I need like a 50 or 60 feet USB cable. I don't even think you can make them that big. And if they do, the signal would probably degrade so much. But anyway, back to this thing, today, this is just,
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
as usual. But, it's all on topic. The idea that I have to have security cameras, you know what I'm saying, is kind of ridiculous. It's like, what a world. What a world. But that's not the half of it. So, people are talking about food shortages, right? And all this kind of stuff. They're talking about that thing coming in. They're talking about another bird flu. We had a scare about a month or two ago, remember? And then that went away. But now they're trying to resurrect that again, saying another H1N1 maybe bird flu. There's all kinds of stuff. We're in, are they doing this to hide the fact that, the first quarter GDP was like pitiful, that the country's collapsing? It's a political year. They want to hold on to power so badly. But what are they doing with that power? Is it they want to hide the fact that they've done nothing for people? That people are dying, that crime is rising and nothing's happening? Inflation is out the roof. Price of houses are like ridiculous. Taxes go up. I talked to somebody who they're saying their house was still underwater. It shouldn't be. Underwater, meaning that the value of the house, they owe more than what the people are valuing the house. I thought that stuff was over back in, after, by 2010, that was like after the 2008, 2009 deal. I thought that ended by, say, 2012 or something. Apparently, 10 years later, people are still underwater on their homes. So it's crazy. So, madness or sanity, it's not sanity. That's for sure. It's not sanity. And that expression on my cartoon face, sans mustache, which is so ridiculous. But it's right on. It's right on. So it's crazy. Didn't I say that? I said that too many times.
This is insane.
Did you like that new thing I added to the intro?
It's the best. New. Real. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got another one that if I time, I have to time it right though for it to be apropos. So I've got a little while for that yet. We'll see if I don't babble past it. But the list goes on and on and on. I could sit here and just rattle all these crazy, insane things. And I've been doing these 600 shows. And of course, in the course of doing all those shows, I've touched on all of them, you know? And so where do we go from here? So it's like, it's dystopia. I mean, but maybe that's what the madness or sanity thing is, that there are some people that just look at this, look at someone like me, right? And these other people who are out there doing these kinds of things. And they say, you guys are all crazy. It's madness, what you're saying. It's not, it's insane. But then there's people like, then we say, no, you don't see. I mean, come on. It's like that statement about coincidence, if it happens one time, it's it's a coincidence, fluke or something. If it happens twice, it's a coincidence. If it happens 3 times, it's like, it's something else, whatever it is, I forget the whole phrase. Do you know what I mean? Right? What is that phrase? You guys know what it is?
Really funny. Really funny.
Yeah, I don't know. But does it really even matter? So, I don't know. I mean, it's like life seems normal, and I guess that's the problem. Is that, everything, we're going through the motions of life. So, it's not rain. It rained a little bit. It's going to rain in a little while, I guess. Maybe I should take a walk down to the grocery store just for exercise. Of course, I'll get caught in the rain on the way up, way back. Doesn't look like it's raining out there now. The weather said it was. I heard some droplets before, but, that seems to have stopped. It's gone down to 17, 19%. Looks like it looks like it picks up in earnest around 9 or 10 o'clock. So I guess if I walked down there after this show, I might be able to beat it. It's not going to really pick up until between 9 and 10 o'clock, and then it's going to rain all day. Allegedly, supposedly, if you could believe the weather, So, yeah, I don't know. So how long can people live in denial and think that life is just normal, and just be able to absorb the fact that they're paying more, twice the price or a third more for the items they buy, right? Cost of living's gone up. That there are all these weird things going on. They can't buy certain things. It's hard to buy certain pet foods, and, certain items are just like, can't find. Particularly cat food. Apparently baby food. There's like certain baby foods you can't get. Well, that's like pretty sad. It's bad enough not being able, having a finicky cat, but not being able to have an infant that likes a particular food and it's not available. What do you do about that? So there's other items like that. Then there's other items that are just like have been priced almost out of reach for the average person. I can remember when I was doing really well, I, go to the store and just push the cart around and throw whatever in, and I'd have this full cart check out. It'd be like $100 some or whatever. And who cares? And come back. Didn't look at the price. This is years ago. I've been looking at the price the last 10, 12 years. But prior to that, you make an X amount of money that you just don't, you have excess. So you don't notice the difference. You're not, a price increase of 30 cents per item on certain things and stuff like that. Just doesn't seem to phase you. You just go, spend $120. Usually spend $100. Spend $120 at the grocery store. See, but that makes a difference for somebody that had that $20 targeted for a couple bags of cement and some other things that they needed, and they don't have any leeway. It's like this health insurance stuff, insurance, you know. Like I have to deal with a thing this week. And it's going to involve a lot of phone calls. And boy, do I hate phone calls. You know, talking to bureaucrats and different people like that, or people at companies and stuff. Because they don't really have the answer. And if they give you an answer and you say, and you like, you're foolish enough to like feel good. Oh, okay, I got a response. Then you're a fool because you can't trust them. You gotta, like, I need that in writing. Can you send that out in a, you know, in a letter to me verifying that? I mean, I should have done that when I dropped my DirecTV. You know, I had talked to people. I sent the equipment. I have receipts. I sent them copies of receipts. I still have the receipts. But after all that stuff that I returned the equipment, wasn't using the service, hadn't used the service for 6 months, they were sending me bills as if I had. And like it maybe hadn't not even returned. I'm like, how could I even use your service? I have a receipt here showing that you received the equipment. I returned the equipment, and here's the receipt. Here's the number, tracking number, serial number of the device, right? Last day of usage. I paid my last bill on such and such a date. Here's a copy of the check, you know. Okay, yeah, I could see that's a problem that we made. Yeah, we'll take care of that. Don't worry, no problem, blah, 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 right? 3 different people, because I kept getting these things. And then finally I figured the problem solved. 6 months later, I look at my credit report, and I've got this delinquent. Suddenly my credit report goes down by like, I don't know, 50 points or something like that because of a, delinquency in a payment, non-payment, blah, 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 into collections or something like that. And you're like, what? And at that point, there's nothing you can really do. You would just have to enter into their world. And if you send them something, you get a collection agency, it's an address, it's a P.O. box or something. You know? You're going to hire a lawyer for something. I'm like, you know what? I have a credit card. I've owned my house. The heck with my credit rating. I don't care anymore. Right? I know a lot of people. I have no intention of buying a car or any major purchase in that regard. It's like, forget it. You win. You screwed me over. Thanks a lot. Okay? In the long run, maybe you did me a favor. Because, maybe I would have bought something and, on credit that I wouldn't need. It'd just be another thing tacked on to my monthly bills. But that's a whole other thing, is finance and the way they're trying to crypto everything so that they could track people. And you have to have this, digital ID that they're pushing. That's further on than a lot of people really know. It's just in the background. There's talk about it, but you have to dig into these websites. You got to dig into this stuff. And at the center of all this stuff is this World Economic Forum. They're even in partnership now with the WHO. Why? Right? That's the real one that's weird. If you go to the Twitter account of the head of the WHO, and look back, scroll through because he's got some photos on there, you'll find a photo of him shaking hands with Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum and touting their partnership. So what's the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum doing partnering for? Right? Wasn't it the WHO that was the ones, remember they came out and they said, "Oh, there's no big deal." Remember when that whole plague thing was? Forget about it. There's nothing wrong, nothing to see here, right? They were the last to come on board. If they would have came on board and done their job, that whole thing probably could have been nipped in the bud back in 2019. But they were like covering for China. So I'm trying to tell you, everything you know is wrong. You get the shirt, wear it, let other people see it. You don't know what you don't know. That includes all of us, me too, right? I have that shirt, I wear it. I'm not pretending I know everything. I'm just constantly exposed to this stuff, and it's like madness or sanity, but it's madness is what it is. It's madness. It's insane, But you look out that window, camera 2 up there, and it just looks like a regular world. There's some scaffold next to some guys are remodeling a house, right? There's a business next to it, a street. It's a Sunday morning. People will go to church and, as if everything's fine. And after church, they'll be in their Sunday clothes at the grocery store if I go down there, and like everything's fine. And meanwhile, I could rattle off like 25 things that should scare people, rattle you to your bones, that are so hard to believe. They're so stranger than fiction that, they're incomprehensible. One man, one vlog tries to make sense of it all. And that's all I've been trying to do for the past couple of years here. And before that in my songs, and before that in my books, and all along in my books and songs and these things. But I can't make any sense of it. I can't. And I think that's the whole thing. I started this show off by saying, I guess maybe I guess the feeling I had when I woke up today, I was trying to describe when I first started the show, was that I'm numb. I have become comfortably numb. It's like that Pink Floyd song, right? And maybe that's who if I were to go to the grocery store today, it's still debatable, go out in public, be around people, that's what people have become, comfortably numb. Because you get so much stuff thrown at you. What are you going to do? Snap out? Right? Get in a corner in a fetal position and rock back and forth? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like people have become comfortably numb. It's like they're driven so far to insanity, or the madness is just everywhere you look. Everything is like, there. It's like, it's just too much. So you just become comfortably numb. Yeah, it's outrageous. It really is. It's outrageous. Yeah, I've got a new sound effect, so as we approach this. Another hour. We're in hour 2 of...
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I don't know if the two of those would flow together. Let's see if they would flow together, work right.
Another hour.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
No, it doesn't work that way. Let's try it this way. What about this one?
Another hour.
Tony Caravan.
You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, not what you don't.
Don't. Well, whatever it is, I'll tell you.
This is a nightmare. Must be a nightmare.
Hey, it's me. How you doing, man?
Like I say, comfortably numb, I think. I think that's the term. I realized it. I'm not a super Floyd fan, to tell you the truth. I mean, but, I like some of their stuff. I tried watching a little bit. I tried doing that, watch The Wizard of Oz with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon thing, once. I don't think I didn't make it through the whole movie, but it was it's interesting, but that's just like shows how juxtaposition, how you could do anything. It's something when I went, I was in film school when I was, and how you could put a different sound, music, a sound effects, or something that's going on when you put it behind a soundtrack and mix it with something visual, it could change the whole scene. So if somebody, if it's a person's walking down the street and you're playing this scary music, right? Suddenly it's like, oh, what's going to happen? Is somebody going to jump out from the bushes? But the same person's walking down the street, the exact same footage, and you can have some happy-go-lucky, music, like, almost like whistling, blah, blah, blah. And you're just thinking, okay, this guy's just Mr. Happy-go-lucky funny guy, right? And it's interesting stuff. And then you could juxtapose those things like two images together. And so, that also creates a different, parallel editing, have something going on here, and then you change and something's going on there. I mean, I used to be into all that stuff, but I'm not anymore. So when I used to produce things and edit stuff and direct things, but this is the thing. I don't see the purpose anymore of doing that kind of stuff, because when you don't have an audience, they're messing with my connection already. So the show cuts out. I don't really care anymore. At this point, I really don't care, I do what I do, if it stays on the air, it's on the air. People watch it, they watch it. If you're into it, thanks. I appreciate it. I really think you ought to get some of the clothing line stuff, and, I think it could make a difference in a small way to at least your circle, circle of friends or circle of people around you. But we're not going to change anything. This world's not going to get better. This country's not going to get better. There's not going to be any, that's why they got rid of the Build Back Better thing, because they knew they couldn't. Save America. There's nothing to save. It's already gone down the toilet, man. It's just that people are out there comfortably numb. People don't want to give up. They don't want to accept. I understand that, but the thing about me is I'm not saying, like I say, get into fetal position and start rocking like somebody who, is in an insane asylum, which I don't know if they have them anymore. I'm saying live your life, try to, like yesterday, be happy and healthy and just deal with it. But yeah, I'm realizing I'm starting to become comfortably numb to this whole thing. And asking the question, madness or sanity, it's like, maybe it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder type of thing, right? So it's madness to one person and sanity to another. Depends on your, vantage point, your way of dealing with things, If you've become comfortably numb, it's sanity. It's just life, as it's always been. SOP, standard operating procedure, right? If you're somebody who's like really been like really active and a part of living, like living life, really sensing, in touch with your senses, you see the world as you see the world gone mad. You're going, what? This is insane. But if you've never traveled much or you've never done a variety of different things, and if you've never encountered, like I have, thousands of different people and done all kinds of different things, you might not see this as the gravity of the situation that's unfolded over the past, I would say, 20 years or so. The whole 21st century's been, has been outrageously, insane. Starting with weapons of mass destruction. I mean, and all that stuff. I mean, you could go back to the late 90s, when Clinton was shooting those missiles over there, which was the original stick in the hornet's nest that started that whole Middle Eastern endless wars. So you could, it's been like 25 years, a quarter of a century, if you think about it. Yet during that same quarter of a century, we've seen all these technological advancements and all these new toys. The smartphones, apps, computers, developments in chips and all this kind of crazy stuff. And then you've got, and the characters, like everybody from, the Elon Musks and SpaceX and Tesla cars to, Bezos and the rise of Amazon and home delivery and Instacart and stuff. These things that we all use and that we're all like, everybody's involved in. But they're all diversions away from this, this utter madness. And I guess that's it. So people become comfortably numb and completely diverted, and so they don't see it. And until something affects you directly, you just it's existential. It's happening to somebody else. It's not happening to me, right? Oh, it can't happen to me. But then, until you're stricken down, it's like I never thought, I was a happy-go-lucky guy, just sitting around, going to bars, hanging out, drinking, flirting with the waitresses and the female bartenders and stuff like that, having fun, laughs, playing music on the jukebox with my remote app, because the digital jukebox, just having fun. Publishing a dining entertainment magazine, DJing, doing just crazy. Just life was just a ball. And then I got, stricken down with some illnesses and stuff. Weird things. Like I said, the last time I had a few beers was St. Patrick's Day. Now we're into May, and that was like March 17th. I got a bar, my kitchen is a bar set up, basically. There's beers in the refrigerator in there. They should be drinking, Beer doesn't have an endless shelf life. I mean, they're still fresh. But I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird. It's just a very strange reality, and it's puzzling sometimes. And I don't know. That's the whole thing. And that's what I'm saying, and that's what this card here, that I've created, trying to make sense of it all. And I've yet to be able to do that. I can't make sense of it. Doesn't make sense to me. In fact, I hope this doesn't mess up my show, but what I have to do is I have to change this. I wonder if it's going to let me do that. Yeah. When I make this show public, madness, this may totally screw up this broadcast. I don't know if it will or not. I go off the air, I had to change the title card so that if I share this on social media, it'll say madness or sanity instead of insanity. Because that was like just a screw up on my part. So far, so good. Yeah. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? We just live our lives and just see what happens. It's like, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. Maybe I don't do these shows anymore or something. I mean, I'm just trying to think, if this is it, maybe I just focus on trying to, I'm never going to win. It's like the other thing about my life, I guess if you're watching this,
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I mean, it's my vlog, right? But it's like, I just shook the desk. By the way, there's a lot of volcanoes going off and stuff. I think I mentioned that the other day too. There's all kinds of crazy stuff, the magnetic field, the sun, and all this kind of there's so many things, But I'm almost tired of talking about them. And, and then I'm dealing with these rodents in my yard and my garden. And it's like, that's taking the wind out of my sails. The garden's doing really well. Like, I'm way ahead of the curve, but, I would say. I mean, I have plants. I mean, you should see this stuff. It's like, I have some of the stuff covered because I just don't want the rodents getting in on top of it. But I left some of the stuff uncovered. Hopefully that nothing got in there. See, my biggest fear is that if I deny them access to the bird feeder, or restrict them in certain ways, they might focus their attention on my garden. And that's the whole idea of having a bird feeder, is to keep even the birds, everybody's attention, all the critters, everybody's attention on the bird feeder. And that's why I've moved it back further from my garden. Originally, it was closer to my garden than it actually is. It was like, and I've had to put in a post and moved it back like 16 feet further back in my, towards the house. For that purpose, just to keep them away. But, I don't know. I'm starting to, I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those things. It's like, it's just a weird day. Could be. Maybe it's the weather. Like I said, I don't feel bad or anything. It's not, and like comfortably numb. I wouldn't say comfortably. Like I think people are comfortably numb, because they've got their, they bought all this, they live in these, homes in these neighborhoods with all these creature comforts. So they're comfortably numb. And they have subscribed to all these services and have all this stuff and these cars with all kinds of, computer things in them. And, they're just loving life. While the world around them is like disintegrating. And that eventually they're going to be like caught up in it. But like down out here in the fields, in the trenches, so to speak, we're already feeling it, you see? And that's what this show's about. And maybe that's why, a lot of people don't get it and just look at it and go like, Because I've had people tell me, like, what are you doing? What is, nobody's interested in that. That kind of thing. And I'm like, you don't understand, you're not you don't see the big picture. Everyone is going to be affected ultimately. Unless you're Klaus Schwab, right? Or Bill Gates, you're going to be affected. One of the most ridiculous lines tweeted in the past week was Elon Musk saying, let's have some fun on Twitter or something like that. And I'm thinking, oh my God. Oh my God. You got to be kidding me. Let's have some fun on Twitter. I would have bought Twitter and closed it down, man, I think. Let's have some fun on Twitter. And maybe that's it. That sums up the state of things right now. Right? Hey, there's people waking up now and they're just going right, checking their tweets and what, notifications and stuff like that, texting somebody, right? Looking at, stuff that was posted here and there. And they're comfortably numb and laughing or happy. It says no data right now. I don't know what that's all about. I'm broadcasting it. Well, but yeah, it's crazy. But that's life. So I'm the outcast, ROCKFLUX. The planet's in a state of flux, right? People won't, the sun's going to basically nova within the next, decade or two. Magnetic fields weakening, volcanoes are going off. Everything people are telling you to be afraid of are things not to be afraid of. And everything that you should be afraid of, most people are oblivious to. Don't even know about. And now they got this Department of, Truth or whatever, Ministry of Truth out of 1984. So they're like blatantly coming out, trying, in other words, forget another thing that goes against the First Amendment. It's like amazing how people think, we do not live in a constitutional republic. And when I say it's a former United States, people just don't get it. And those people who are like obsessed with this idea as if, we're going to somehow change all this in the coming, this year and in the next 2 years after that. Change what and change it to what? It's not even the same. This isn't the same country it was 25 years ago. People are different. People born in 1990, or something like that, they're 32 years old. That's like they're in the prime of their life. They're the people running this country. They have no idea what the world was like. They don't even know what it was like in the 90s. They were just, toddlers. So, that's that whole idea, when people were saying like, make America great again or save America or even build back better, the ridiculous thing. It's like all of those phrases, most people in charge now, they don't even know what you're talking about. And like I had on a show, like a previous show where I go, the ruling elite are just far too old, right? So they're living in a dream world, Like, because they see the world like from like the 80s, right? Or earlier, Ronald Reagan years or something. And they have no clue. And they're on their way out. You know, there's just a limited time. I mean, yeah, Joe Biden is like, he's getting frailer and frailer by the day. He's messing up on a daily basis. He's like, you know, spouting out gibberish when he's in front of the microphones. And I predicted that. I told you those kind of drugs that they give you, they just wear off. Your body gets a resistance to them. So they were able to get him, put clarity inside there. But I don't care who the doctors are, unless they create, do a deep fake the next time. I mean, they have experimented with that where they had him in front of like a fake background, right? Do you remember, that's happened. So they've tested that, but it's been called out, but I don't think anybody really reacted weird. A couple people mentioned it on some news people, but no one really like I said, it's like with all these things going on, no one seems to care. So who knows, the next time he might, you see a speech, it could be just a deep fake. It won't even be him because he's literally almost at the point where he's incapable of carrying on a conversation. So I don't know what, and all these other people standing in line, there's just a lot of old, they're just too old. And it's just, I don't know. It's a world gone mad. 8 billion people on the planet. But the biggest thing to me that I keep going back to, and I think I'm just about done with this show, is this 40,000 people on average a week that are dying in this country, basically because, we're not paying attention to the revolving door at the FDA. And that we're allowing, the foods we consume to basically kill us and our relatives and our friends, right? Type 2 diabetes shouldn't even exist. Do you know what I mean? There's far too much obesity, kidney diseases, heart problems, various heart clogging of arteries and things like that. I mean, this stuff is all dietary, and there are all alternatives to everything. But they'll spend $33 billion sending military equipment over so that the military-industrial complex can enrich its shareholders. Or Elon Musk will put a $50 billion deal together to buy an app, Twitter. Or put a program together to send people to Mars, a planet that has no atmosphere on it. Do you know what I mean? In other words, there's a time for doing everything. When a society has reached some point of it's really at the height of civilization, then you can do these things. That's when you go for space exploration and you do this other stuff. You're not going to save humanity by having a colony of people living underground or in some kind of shelters on Mars or the moon. That's not saving humanity, right? I mean, that's just a bunch of people who are going to go space happy, crazy, like in that movie, Like, what are we doing out here? We don't even belong here. From that movie, remember the Bruce Willis, when all those guys went and went to that asteroid movie, whatever. I'm telling you, man, people have lost their minds. And it's like they're and the average person's just too comfortably numb. Yeah, that coffee wasn't that bad. And I know, and I am sitting with a semi smile on my face, just dealing with it and talking about it like nonchalantly. But what else are you going to do? I guess I've become somewhat comfortably numb too. So what, I'm going to take a walk down the grocery store, buy a few, some cat food, see if there's any cat food there that my cat will eat, anything left on the shelves. They had these sticky things that a lot of people don't say they don't work, but especially if it's going to be raining a lot, I guess they wouldn't work. But they have these things, like for rats that I might be able to slide under this one spot so that they would get there. Excuse me, and they would stick to it.
Really funny. Really.
Sorry about that. But they'll get free. It's not like it's humane because they're too strong it's not like they would get stuck there and die or something. But it would be a deterrent for them to go through a particular hole or spot that they were using. My idea is to just try to like pigeonhole these things into one area where they would use, and then I could control that area, somehow. But I don't think I'm going to win that. I think that's a battle. I don't think I could win. When I saw that little mouse yesterday, last evening, before I went to bed, and I realized it was a mouse. It could have been a tiny rat, I guess. I mean, I hope they didn't have a litter, But when I saw that out the window, down by the feeder, and it was paranoid. It like came out towards it, and the birds, it was so small, but it was like mouse size. I think it might have been a mouse. And I know the neighbor was mowing their lawn, so it could well have been scared out of its wherever it was hiding over there. But when I saw that, I go, these things could crawl through small spaces, and, I don't know if I'm going to win. And I don't have the money to waste. I've already put so much money into it that I don't really have the money to waste to just keep throwing it away and play whack-a-mole, It's weird. It's really weird. I mean, I don't know. It's surreal. I know, an overused word, but it is. My life is surreal. My life, it's like that book I wrote. My stack of books. Let's get one. I noticed, I have this thing. You see how I use those, these weird octagonal type of things, 2, 4, 6. No, they're really sextagonal shapes. I see that's coming into fashion. This was from a book I've done. This was The Truth About Everything. It's one of my older books. But this thing here, my life is a surrealistic nightmare. It's funny, I got a picture in here. It's a picture of my father and my uncles in front of their original store. Geez, this thing must be... Geez, I couldn't tell you how long. Look at that. Noodles, 2 for 25 cents. Alaska salmon they were selling. With the snacks, 15 cents. I think everyone in that picture has died. That picture's like probably, let's see. 80 years, what the 40s would be. If that might be from the I don't know if that's 40s. It's probably about at least 80 plus years old, 80 or 90 years old or something. Man, this country's changed. This country's changed. You know, people have changed. And it's like, you know, it's hard to, I don't feel like I fit in modern society, you know. And without that, like I talked about yesterday, the sense of community, without having social outlets so you could find somebody that you could talk to. See, that's the whole thing I used to like about the bar scene. Because at least, you know, some people think, you know, there's people out there, it's drinking, you know, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's not the idea of getting drunk. Okay? No, it's the idea of the social experience. And it's the idea is when I used to hang out and used to go to different places, and a lot of places, I was a bar type of guy. You know, I used to, you know, it was a place to go because it was a social place that was, you know, usually always open. You could always find a bar open any day of the week. And there were some interesting places, some places that played good music and you could get food or something and have a couple of beers. But the thing is, other people went there and I would go by myself. You know, I'm not talking about a date type of thing. You know. And a lot of people don't do that. You know, that's another weird thing. Even back at that time, you know, but, you know, I would go. And inevitably, not all the time, but I would, you know, end up striking up a conversation and I would find some interesting people to talk to, you know, male or female, you know, and have a conversation, you know. So it wasn't always about just picking somebody up at a bar. I'm not talking about that scene necessarily. You know what I mean? Sometimes you would, you know. But that, you know, it's the idea of, you know, in a society where there's no community social interaction and some place like a setting for people to casually over time communicate and accidentally brush up against one another or accidentally in time sit next to each other. Or like, you know, like sometimes, see, it's hard to describe the bar scene of, say, 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. When you'd go into a place that wasn't that crowded. And so, you know, somebody would play a song on a jukebox and that could be a uniting thing. Hey, that's a good tune. Or you played something and somebody goes, great tune, man. Right? And you could strike up a conversation. Or somebody would be commenting something to the bartender, or you would be saying something, and somebody would interject. And yeah, why not? And then that bartender moves on to serve somebody else, and then somebody sitting so many seats down, you having a conversation, you know, with 5 chairs between you. But the point is, you know, that's how you're making an introduction. And it's like you find people of similar mindsets. You end up making friends. And maybe over the course of, you know, and then sometime, maybe a couple of months later, you ended up going into the bar and you're sitting next to the person and you're talking to them. Right? It's like I was saying, you know, you had different kinds of, you know, relationships and friends. You know, you had your coworkers, you had people you might encounter if you were a regular at a particular bar, people who go to church services, people who go to social clubs, people who go to, who knows, shopping at a certain place or there's any one of many things that used to be social gatherings where, you know, you would meet people of similar interests over a period of time instead of it being forced. Like now it's virtually impossible to like gradually encounter somebody, right? You don't have that opportunity, you know, and that's missing from society. And I think that's something that we've really lost is the sense of what I would call, just like, gradual social interaction, gradual, in other words, this just encountering people over a period of time, getting to know people, without being forced instantly, And so you don't have that, you just don't have social this is lack of social interaction. For not everywhere. I mean, I'm just like this is my show, my vlog, whatever, right? I'm trying to make sense of it as the cartoon their image says. I'm just saying in my life, I know. And I've been in other places where I've seen that. And then we saw over the past couple of years how the whole concept of the bar scene and like certain social gathering type of things have changed. So it's not like what I'm saying is foreign is just to me in the particular area I am. This is something that's happening, all over the place. But there are a lot of areas where it's not as pronounced. And, lucky you if you're in one of those areas, I mean, seriously. And I wish I could be around that, but I can't. I'm here. I'm trapped, kind of, So it's weird. So you have to find an existence, you have to become more in touch with yourself and comfortable with yourself more so than I would hope to have been. I've always been the type of person that's been comfortable, I've been comfortable living alone. I've been doing it for quite a while. I've been married. I've had longer term relationships over the years and stuff. But I've never had a problem living alone, having my own space and, and all that kind of stuff. And I still communicate with people. But, to not have to be completely removed from any kind of social interaction is a new one, because the idea of liking your privacy and getting used to living alone and that kind of stuff is one thing. But the idea of being able to get out of your house and go, just like I say, a bar, for example, at your choice, you're in control, you decide, is a nice option to have. I don't have that option, So it's weird. And when you see the world just like, excuse me, like disintegrating around you, and most people oblivious to it, it just compounds matters. So I don't know. And then having to deal with these freaking rodents in my garden. I don't know. I just, like I say, sometimes it just takes the wind out of your sails. That's where I am today. That's why I think I'm just going to walk to the grocery store just to get out of that. I got to get the hell out of here. I got to get the hell out of here. Buy some cat food, walk up the street, listen to some music on my headphones while I'm walking. I don't know. I need to do something. I wish there was a bar I could go to, but then again, I don't know. I don't want to mess up my liver. Really. I don't know. Though I think I've done a pretty good job of like combating that problem. Knock on wood, like I say, but yeah. That's that. So what do you think?
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. So Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
As always, visit my site, rockflux.com, Tony Caravan Live. I have a clothing line. The show has a clothing line. Be nice. Game over. Everything you know is wrong. You don't know what you don't know. All these sayings you could get on any kind of thing imaginable. I've got books, 10 books out there, but the Then, Watt, and Codex, my most recent books, I recommend you get them. Get them in print on Amazon. Great solar stuff. It's more than solar panels. There's power backups there, right? You can listen to my beat poetry. It's out there all over the place. Don't get turned off if you listen to one or two songs and you go, I don't like it. Play. You got to keep playing them. Problem with Spotify is they have some of my early stuff that was just experimental and it's not really that good. You got to dig deeper. You know, my most recent stuff. I have 50 songs. There may be a dozen of them that aren't that good, but there's another 38 that I think are outrageous. Anyway, that's that. Check it. That would help support the channel. That would help give me a reason to continue, right? Show me a sign that I should actually do this show, is what I'm trying to say. Give me a sign, Anyway, spread the word, like it, share it, comment, do whatever. All right. Cheers. Take care. Have a great day.